We have a very special guest, Democratic nominee for governor, Miss Stacey Abrams. Ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Yes.
Hello.
How are you doing this morning?
I am well, thank you.
It's so good to see you in person. I feel like I know y'all have seen so many commercials.
Truly. Good.
You've been having a very good campaign.
Thank you.
You got some people, you got some naysayers and some haters, but you got a lot of support as well, though.
Well, we've got a clear path to victory. We need 250,000 folks to turn out who haven't previously voted. And we know, for example, that there are 617,000 African American voters between the ages of 18 and 35 who are registered to vote but do not turn out.
So, so let me ask you a question. So is that what sort of prompted you to start your New Georgia project?
Well, actually, I started the New Georgia Project because in 2014 there were 800,000 people of color, 600,000 of whom were African American, who weren't even registered to vote.
Here in Georgia alone?
Here in Georgia. So basically the population of South Dakota. And so for me, the issue was in 14, making sure we were getting folks registered. But now it's making sure people use their right to vote, to actually choose the direction of our state.
Wow. And I mean, I'm sure you already know here in Atlanta we have a huge African American community. Even when our current mayor, Ms. Keisha Lance Bottoms, when she was up here, I, number one, felt the same energy I felt with her as I feel with you. I feel November 6th is going to be a great day. For anybody who doesn't know, November 6th is the day to vote, so make sure you are registered before then. Do you know when the last day?
Sure. So voter registration ends on October 19th. Early voting starts October 15th. And if you want to vote from home, if you want to do an absentee ballot, if you're away at college, or if you just don't think you're going to be around, you can apply for your absentee ballot, and they start mailing those out on September the 18th.
Okay, so with that being said, again, we have a very large population of African Americans, especially our listeners, with the first 100 days, because we believe that you just might make it all the way. What do you plan for our community?
Our first responsibility is expansion of Medicaid in the state of Georgia. We have 500,000 people who do not have access to health care. We have hospitals shutting down. Grady Hospital is losing millions of dollars a year because we're refusing to expand Medicaid. But it's also about criminal justice reform. We know a lot of folks go to prison because they need help with mental illness or with a substance abuse problem. I know this personally. I have a younger brother who's been in and out of prison because he's bipolar and he's a heroin addict. But when he leaves jail, he loses his health care. And we create this terrible cycle. So I want us to expand Medicaid so we can provide support to those families. And the last piece is criminal justice reform writ large. Decriminalizing possession of small amounts of marijuana. Decriminalizing the fact that if you are poor in the state of Georgia, you are likely to end up in jail. And so I want to make sure that we have a governor who understands that criminal justice reform isn't just a slogan. It is something we have to do for our people. Because, and I give Governor Deal credit, we've done a great job of reducing the number of people in prison. We've got a lot of work to do, and I want to be the governor to get it done.
That is a beautiful thing. Oh my God, I'm so happy to hear you say that. Because, you know, of course, I'm sure you already do, but marijuana has just been decriminalized here in Atlanta. And I was talking to Shawty about that, hoping that maybe you would go ahead and do that for the whole state of Georgia.
I do. I intend to decriminalize it for the state of Georgia. But also, we need to make sure that medical marijuana isn't just legal. We have to make it available. Right now, you have to commit a federal crime to take advantage of a state law. We need to cultivate it in state, we need to distribute it in state, and we need to use our land grant institutions like Fort Valley State University.
I went to Fort Valley.
We need to use SVSU and other land grant institutions so we can build the capacity, because we know that it's also job opportunities, especially for communities that are usually left out of. If you look at what's happening in Colorado, what's happening in Oregon, communities that are the most likely to need access are the least likely to be on the entrepreneurial side, and I want to make sure that we're connecting those dots.
Oh, girl, say that again. We are so happy to have you in this morning.
So I got a question, because I see that you come off very transparent. That's my favorite word. They
we love it.
And I think this is one of the first times that I've ever spoken with someone in politics who openly shared something like you having a brother that has been in and out of the correctional system, you know what I'm saying? And that says a lot. It says a lot, because a lot of people usually try to hide that stuff, and a lot of times when your opponents, they usually what you call mudsling, they try to use stuff like that against you. You know, you probably see a commercial, but did you know that Stacey Abrams has a... It's like, well, what does that have to do with her and her views on helping change, you know, a lot of these policies that affect us and you know, minorities and things of such. So I'm just glad. I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was amazing.
Well, I appreciate it. Look, you may have also heard about my debt. I am running for office, and I'm on a payment plan with the IRS because I had to take care of my father who has cancer. I had to take care of my niece my parents are raising. I've had her since she was 5 days old. I have to take care of my grandmother who moved in with them 7 years ago when she broke her back. And I make a good living, but my salary was designed for me, and now I need to take care of. I've been taking care of 4 other people since 2005.
That is amazing.
And the thing is, folks want me to be ashamed of it. I want to do better, and I will continue to always meet my obligations. I've never failed to meet my obligations, but I live a real life.
Amen.
And we need leaders who actually understand the complexity of the lives we lead. That poor people work harder than anybody else I've ever known. And I'm not poor anymore.
Yes.
But I still have a life that requires that I have to prioritize my responsibilities. I never miss anything, but I can't do everything all at once. And that's the same thing for the state of Georgia. Georgia can't do everything at once for everyone, but we have to prioritize what we need to do. Georgia does not have a revenue challenge. We have a priorities challenge.
Oh, ma'am.
And we need a governor who puts priority on our people and returning the investment on our people so that we can get to be a stronger state.
That is a beautiful thing. And I would like to touch on this because you just said my very favorite words, Fort Valley State University. I'm a proud supporter of my HBCUs. I know you also attended Spelman, one of our schools in the AUC that we love so much. So when we think of Governor Stacey Abrams, what can we think about when it comes to education?
So I have a very robust plan. If you go to my website, StaceyAbrams.com, we have 100 pages worth of policies so people know what we're talking about, how much it costs, and how we're going to get it done. I want to educate children from cradle to career. That means 0 to 3 investment, early childhood learning. Parents are paying basically a college tuition for a 2-year-old. Yeah. And I have the only plan to actually create a scholarship so that if you, for example, have a 2-year-old and you make $40,000 a year, you get $5,700 to put that child into early childhood education.
That is a beautiful thing.
And we can do that in Georgia.
Wow.
It's making sure that we have truly universal pre-K. Right now we have 5,000 children on a waiting list for a 4-year-old program. I've never met a 4-year-old who got to do it. And I want debt-free college because right now there is no need-based aid in the state of Georgia if you want to go to college. We're one of only 2 states that has failed to do that, and I want to correct that when I'm the next governor of Georgia.
Lord, please. Vote for Stacey Abrams.
I was about to say, you're just tuning in. We have the Democratic nominee for governor, Stacey Abrams, in the studio. Now, I read somewhere that the first time you went to the governor's mansion, you were actually turned away.
Yes.
You're kidding. What happened?
I was the valedictorian for my high school, DeKalb County High School, Avondale High. And as valedictorian, you get invited to meet the governor. My parents and I got there, but we didn't come in a car because my parents didn't have a car. We were working poor. So we showed up on MARTA. And the guard looked at us.
You're kidding.
Looked at us, looked at the MARTA bus and told us we didn't belong there and told us to go. My parents had to prove that I was invited to be there, and it took some time. And what I talk about is I don't remember meeting the governor. I got inside eventually, but I don't remember meeting the governor. I don't remember meeting my fellow valedictorians. What I remember is being told I don't belong in the most important place in the state of Georgia, in the most powerful place, by a man who saw me and saw my community and saw where I came from and said that that was the reason I shouldn't be there. And I intend to open the gates wide when I become the next governor of Georgia.
Girl, you got tears in my eyes. I hate discrimination. That is my #1 offset, especially coming from, I used to live in Cleveland. I'm born and raised here in Atlanta, but I pride Atlanta for being such an open city, for such an accepting and culturally diverse city. But hearing a story like that, it sounds disgusting.
That's very touching.
Well, look, I use it to galvanize me. As YungJoc said, I tell the story of my family because I need people to know that I'm not just running for a title. I'm running for my life.
Girl.
And I'm running for our lives. I asked my brother Walter to let me tell his story. And I asked my parents and my siblings to let me tell their stories because if we don't talk about who we are and what we face, then how can anyone lead us? And so my mission is to be a leader who reflects the values and the experiences of our communities. And that means no matter where you live, whether you're an African American living in Atlanta or someone who is a conservative white guy living in Dalton, Georgia, or someone Hispanic living in a Latino who's raising a family in Gwinnett County, you need a governor who believes in you and believes you belong. And I'm the only candidate running who actually sees and believes in all of Georgia.
And I can't dispute that. I have to be honest with you. I cannot dispute that. I
believe you.
Just you breaking down the different parts of Georgia, you know where the communities are, you know where they're staying, where they're living. I mean, a lot of people haven't even gone outside their own little, radar. They just go where they believe the cameras are going to be, and that's a beautiful thing.
I've been to 158 of 159 counties. I got to get to Brantley in a couple of weeks, but I've been everywhere. I've literally been to every county in Georgia otherwise. And what I can tell you is whether you live in Appling County or Taylor County, I know you know Peach County,
yes, I do.
Or if you live up in Catoosa or Chattooga, if you're in Henry, it doesn't really matter. Everyone in Georgia wants to be successful. They want the freedom and the opportunity to thrive. and we have to have a governor who believes that is possible for every Georgian, regardless of zip code.
Yes.
Well, we would definitely like to
Beautiful.
take the time and say thank you for stopping by and speaking with the whole city, because I know everybody's tuned in. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Stacey Abrams. Moquick.